I think we might have to take this engine out.
Is it that bad?
It is not looking good at all. It is not, from what I've seen already, this just got a lot worse.
We're gonna have to take an engine out of a Chiron.
It must have shunted.
For years, the automotive world thought massive combustion engines were finished. Then Bugatti revived the V16, combining naturally aspirated power with hybrid technology and nearly 1,800 horsepower. But this isn't just about speed.
The car would have to be on site with ourselves at any parts get ordered, you see.
The easiest thing to do in this situation now is just to call Bugatti, order the parts come and we can fit them. But we know Bugatti are not going to sell us the parts unless the car is at their place.
It's Bugatti proving mechanical emotion can survive in a future dominated by batteries and software. For builders like Mat Armstrong, it shows bold engineering still has room to evolve. Is this combustion's final masterpiece, or the start of a new performance era, the industry's silent goodbye? For decades, the internal combustion engine was the heart and soul of performance cars. Massive V8s, V10s, and V12s roared on tracks and streets alike, symbolizing power, passion, and precision engineering. These engines weren't just about raw speed. They created a connection between driver and machine that electrics struggled to match. Yet, as the world changed, so did the automotive landscape. Governments worldwide began imposing stricter emissions regulations, forcing manufacturers to rethink what was possible. This push for cleaner air and sustainability quickly took hold, and the once celebrated giant engines started fading from production lines. Brands that had built their reputations on thunderous combustion power began downsizing engines or integrating complex hybrid systems. The narrative shifted from chasing horsepower to reducing emissions and improving fuel efficiency. For many, it seemed clear that the age of massive multi-cylinder power plants was ending. Enthusiasts felt this shift too. Forums, magazines, and experts repeated the same story. Large displacement engines were too expensive, complicated, and environmentally unsustainable. The increasing cost of engineering to meet emissions rules only made it harder to justify their production. The transition to electrification appeared unavoidable, with manufacturers worldwide committing billions to battery technology and electric drivetrains. Performance cars started getting quieter, lighter, and a lot more digital each time they got redesigned. That roar, you know, the one that basically defined the whole driving vibe, was replaced bit by the steady hum of electric motors and the kind of software-driven precision that feels almost too controlled. So yeah, this wasn't only a tech upgrade, it was kinda an identity shift for the whole industry. What used to be about mechanical devotion turned into this focus on efficiency and compliance too. So naturally, a bunch of fans started asking if the spirit of performance was being quietly worn down. Luxury brands also rushed their electrification plans. Ferrari leaned into hybrid powertrains, Lamborghini talked up electrified supercars, and Porsche pushed its electric lineup way harder than before. Even those model names that always sounded like V8 or V12 power, they began swapping in smaller turbocharged units, plus electric assistance. The whole change felt so fast that it kind of surprised a lot of drivers and enthusiasts, almost like it happened while they weren't looking, or something like that. The emotional gap got wider every time a new model rolled in. Electric cars, sure, they were quick and efficient, but they kinda didn't give you that sensory stuff from combustion engines. The shaking in the seat, the pitch climbing, the gut-level bond you used to get from real horsepower. And yeah, that created a bunch of divisions inside the whole car community. People arguing if pure numbers should really define performance, or if emotion still matters about the same. The manufacturers had this tight, awkward balance to strike between innovation, regulation, and what consumers were actually chasing in the first place. A lot of folks felt like the biggest chapter in automotive history was quietly closing. Those legendary engines were getting pulled away, bit by bit, swapped out for newer technology that leaned harder on sustainability than on feeling. Internal combustion wasn't the undisputed king of performance anymore. It was becoming more and more endangered, like a fading myth. That industry-wide quiet goodbye sort of set everything up for a twist that would soon shove its way into everyone's assumptions. But even as the noise kept dimming, Bugatti was sitting off to the side, different. While others were basically saying farewell, it was preparing, almost in silence, a challenge nobody really saw coming. The industry's turning point was drawing near, but Bugatti's true intentions remained hidden deep within its engineering walls. Bugatti's quiet rebellion. While the world wrote the obituary for giant combustion engines, Bugatti was moving in silence. There were no grand announcements or dramatic declarations about abandoning its heritage. Instead, behind closed doors, Bugatti's engineers were quietly grappling with a difficult question. What if the era of legendary engines wasn't over? Unlike many companies racing toward electrification, Bugatti chose to retreat from the spotlight to focus on crafting something extraordinary. This secrecy sparked widespread speculation. The company's partnership with Rimac, a leader in electric performance technology, led many to believe Bugatti was preparing an all-electric future. Headlines rushed to portray Bugatti as the next brand to fully embrace electrification. Yet, inside the engineering suites, a different conversation was underway, one that honored the past even as it confronted the future. Bugatti's identity had always been tied to pushing impossible engineering boundaries. Its reputation came from rejecting compromises and chasing dreams others considered out of reach. To the engineers, performance wasn't measured solely by numbers on a sheet, but by the emotions the car evoked. The roar of an engine climbing redline, the vibration felt in the cabin, the visceral thrill of mastery. These intangible qualities were core to Bugatti's soul and risked being lost if combustion was abandoned. The team faced immense challenges. Honestly, it felt like things just kept tightening up. Regulations were tightening. Emissions standards became more stringent, and every new build demanded more complex filtration, hybrid systems, testing, or at least that's how it seemed day to day. It was no longer enough to build powerful engines. They had to be cleaner, smarter, and sustainable. A lot of experts privately thought Bugatti would eventually concede, forced by outside pressures to downsize or replace its iconic engines. End of story, almost. But Bugatti quietly challenged that narrative. Instead of surrendering, their engineers went for some kind of secret gamble, not to replace it, but to redefine what a combustion engine could be. They imagined a powertrain that kind of stitched both worlds together, keeping the emotional impact of a naturally aspirated engine while pulling in the efficiency of modern hybrid systems. And no, it wasn't about nostalgia really. It was more like innovation rooted in tradition, even if that sounds a little romantic. Years passed with no public word. Meanwhile, rumors swirled and little leaked bits raised questions that were bigger than the answers. That silence turned out to be useful, kind of an advantage in disguise. While other companies loudly pushed the future as fully electric cars, Bugatti kept nurturing a project most people thought was impossible. Then, when it finally came out, it stunned the world, and everyone had to reevaluate where performance could actually go next, not just later. Bugatti unveiled a naturally aspirated 8.3-liter V16 engine, an engineering marvel that defied expectations. Instead of shrinking its ambitions to meet regulations, Bugatti expanded them, combining the V16 with a high-tech hybrid system that delivered nearly 1,800 horsepower. That reveal changed everything, proving the era of legendary engines might not be over after all. And this quiet rebellion reminded both enthusiasts and manufacturers that innovation sometimes needs defiance, patience, and a clear vision that goes beyond the obvious path, you know? Bugatti's secret project was more than an engine. It was a statement daring the world to believe again. The technical marvel beneath the hood embodied a delicate balancing act between yesterday's passion and tomorrow's demands. Engineering the impossible. Creating a naturally aspirated V16 in today's automotive climate was no simple feat. Modern emissions and efficiency standards meant every component needed reevaluation. Engineers had to rethink airflow dynamics, cooling systems, combustion processes, as well as weight distribution and packaging within a complex hybrid setup. The challenge was not only to build a powerful engine, but to ensure it met strict environmental rules without losing its signature character. Integrating a sophisticated hybrid system added another layer of complexity. Electric motors had to deliver instant torque while improving fuel efficiency, seamlessly working alongside the V16. This dual approach allowed the combustion engine to focus on delivering emotion, sound, and sustained high-speed performance, while the electric power smoothed out torque delivery and enhanced efficiency where traditional engines struggle. Balancing heat management was critical. The combination of a large, high-revving combustion engine with electric components required precise engineering to maintain reliability. Managing thermal loads without compromising performance or durability demanded innovative solutions and extensive testing. Engineers had to create systems that could withstand extreme conditions without sacrificing the driving experience. Aerodynamics and weight distribution also played significant roles. The powertrain needed to fit within a package that preserved Bugatti's signature handling and stability at ultra-high speeds. Every kilogram mattered, and engineers meticulously crafted components to be lightweight yet strong. The goal was a harmonious machine where every part worked in concert under intense stresses. Precision was paramount, not only in manufacturing but also in tuning and calibration. Even the smallest imbalance in a V16 engine running at such high RPM could cause performance loss or mechanical failure. This meant tight tolerances and thousands of hours spent refining components to achieve perfect harmony across the entire powertrain system. The hybrid system did more than just assist power delivery. By filling torque gaps where combustion engines typically lag, it enhanced acceleration smoothly and responsively. This sophisticated synergy allowed the car to launch with electric immediacy and then unleash the V16's full mechanical symphony as speeds increased. The result blended the best of both worlds without compromise. Bugatti's new V16 powertrain wasn't an attempt to relive the past, but to survive the future. It represented a blueprint for how extraordinary internal combustion engines could adapt in a world dominated by electrification. This was progress redefined, where heritage and innovation coexist rather than collide. This engineering masterpiece demonstrated that with vision and determination, what seems impossible can truly become reality, challenging assumptions across the entire automotive world. As the engine's mighty roar captured imaginations worldwide, the question shifted from whether mega engines were obsolete to how they might inspire a new era of passion. The revival of a classic engine was only the beginning of a greater story waiting to unfold. Power and emotion reunited. The return of Bugatti's naturally aspirated V16 isn't just a raw power play. It's a revival of a deeper emotional connection that many enthusiasts feared was lost forever. This engine doesn't simply produce horsepower. It tells a story with every note, every vibration, every gear change. The sound evolves from a deep, guttural growl to a sharp, unforgettable scream as the revs climb, reminding drivers that they are commanding more than machinery. They're commanding a masterpiece of mechanical art. This roar is more than noise. It's a sensory experience that software and electric motors struggle to replicate. The vibration traveling through the cabin connects the driver physically to the engine's rhythm, creating a bond that pure electric acceleration cannot match. This mechanical language has always been part of Bugatti's identity, and bringing it back challenges the growing trend of silent speed. Acceleration itself becomes a dialogue between two worlds. The instant torque from the hybrid motors delivers an almost surreal launch, while the V16 then unfurls its power with smooth, relentless force. This pairing blends modern responsiveness with the timeless excitement of a high-revving combustion engine. It's a fusion designed not for compromise, but for balance. The best qualities of both electric and mechanical performance working in harmony. Every gear shift carries drama. The mechanical symphony heightens the sense of control and excitement, turning what could be a cold technical achievement into a living, breathing machine. In an era where silence often defines performance, Bugatti doubles down on the idea that the soundtrack matters as much as the speed. This isn't nostalgia. It's a conscious choice to keep passion at the forefront. The engineering risks behind this sound and power package are enormous, like really. Combining a naturally aspirated V16 with an advanced hybrid system pushes the limits of heat management, weight, and aerodynamics. Engineers had to make sure every component worked flawlessly together, because even the tiniest imbalance at these performance levels could turn catastrophic. The outcome is nothing short of remarkable precision. I mean, it really is. That emotional resonance is likely why the engine keeps pulling attention from every corner of the world. It's a reminder that performance isn't only about metrics, it's about feeling connection and being there in the moment. As electric vehicles keep rising, this V16 is still a kind of beacon for people who crave mechanical character as well as technological progress. Choosing to preserve and evolve this engine's soul shows what Bugatti understands about what their customers truly value. It's not just speed on paper. It's the memories, the thrills, and the sensory experiences that make driving feel great. The V16's sound and power deliver exactly that. No more, no less. Bugatti's comeback to these emotional roots nudges the entire automotive world to reconsider what innovation means when identity is at stake. It's a bold reaffirmation that progress and passion can coexist, and it should inspire a fresh generation to appreciate engineering as an art, not only a product. This emotional revival paved the way for a larger conversation about what the future of performance could look like. Impact on automotive future. Bugatti's V16 comeback isn't just a headline, it's a turning point that ripples far beyond one brand or one hypercar model. In an industry rushing toward electrification, this machine reminds manufacturers and fans alike that tradition still holds value. It raises the question, can high-performance combustion engines evolve alongside electric technology rather than be replaced by it? This realization could influence more than just Bugatti's future lineup. Luxury and performance brands worldwide watch closely, aware that customers still hunger for driving experiences rich in emotion and character. If Bugatti's blend of hybrid and combustion proves successful, it offers a blueprint others might follow, showing that meeting emissions targets and preserving engine passion aren't mutually exclusive. The engineering achievement also challenges assumptions about what regulations demand. While governments continue tightening emission rules, this car proves it's possible to design massive engines that are cleaner, smarter, and more efficient without sacrificing their essence. This could encourage innovation in emissions technology, encouraging manufacturers to invest in similar creative solutions rather than defaulting to downsizing or full electrification. At the same time, Bugatti's V16 will likely occupy a unique niche. Massive combustion engines won't return to everyday transportation but may survive as rare symbols of engineering excellence. These machines won't just demonstrate speed, but human creativity and the refusal to accept limits. That distinction might become their lasting legacy. The comeback also revitalizes the debate about how performance should be measured. While acceleration times and top speeds remain impressive, Bugatti reminds the world that sound, feel, and emotional connection matter just as much. This could inspire a broader shift in how the industry and enthusiasts evaluate what makes a great car. More broadly, this engine signals that innovation need not erase heritage. Progress is often painted as choosing between old and new, but Bugatti's success proves the two can move forward together. This philosophy may spark new thinking beyond cars, influencing how technology and tradition coexist in other fields. As sustainability remains a global priority, Bugatti's example highlights the importance of balance, embracing future goals without losing what made automotive culture special. This approach may encourage regulators and manufacturers to reward innovation that honors emotion as well as efficiency. The technical and emotional breakthrough Bugatti achieved redefines where performance could head next, but the real measure will be how this inspiration shapes projects beyond the corporate boardroom. What this means for For Mat Armstrong, Bugatti's return to a naturally aspirated V16 speaks directly to the kind of passion that drives Mat Armstrong's work. Mat has built his reputation by taking damaged, complicated supercars and finding ways to bring them back to life. Bugatti's decision follows a similar philosophy. Instead of accepting that huge combustion engines were finished, the company found a way to reinvent one for a new era. For Mat, that's a powerful reminder that innovation doesn't always mean abandoning the past. His projects often require risky purchases, difficult repairs, rare parts, and creative solutions. Bugatti faced its own challenges with emissions, packaging, hybrid systems, and performance, proving that ambitious ideas can still succeed when engineering and persistence come together. The V16 could also sort of influence how Mat handles future builds. Instead of only zeroing in on returning a car to factory condition, projects might start exploring how traditional performance and modern tech can kinda blend. Hybrid systems, custom power upgrades, and smarter engineering could bring up new ways to keep the sound and the character that enthusiasts really care about. Bugatti's approach also kinda underlines something central to Mat's content. Performance is more than just horsepower. The whole experience matters: the sound, the emotion, the mechanical complexity, and even that satisfaction when an incredible machine is back out on the road again. Most of all, Bugatti's V16 suggests that legendary engine ideas don't necessarily need to vanish. They can evolve. For builders like Mat Armstrong, that creates some genuinely interesting openings. If Bugatti can resurrect one of the most ambitious engine layouts while adapting it for today's world, then independent builders can keep pushing too. The takeaway is straightforward. The future of performance doesn't have to erase automotive history. With enough creativity, skill, and determination, it can build right on top of it. Bugatti's return to the V16 engine is a game-changer that blends emotion with innovation and tradition with technology. It's a bold reminder that passion can drive progress, not just numbers. As Mat Armstrong takes inspiration from this milestone, we're reminded that true automotive artistry is never finished. If you enjoyed this journey into performance's evolving future, please like and subscribe for more stories that celebrate the heart of horsepower. And before you go, keep the engines roaring by clicking the next video waiting for you on the screen. Thanks for watching.